They're tough guys, but some police officers saw something that freaked them out, and they captured it on camera.
When trained officers report ghost sightings,
I tried to speak, but I couldn't. In my mind, I'm saying, let me go, let me go, let me go, but it just wouldn't.
unexplained screams, shadowy figures, everyone knows something is wrong.
Police! Anyone inside, make yourself known.
So, join me to watch the scariest police encounters that will creep you out.
Oh my god, what the?
Honolulu police have a spooky story of their own. An officer telling of a story her partner told her of a ghostly encounter at the Pali Lookout.
Pali Lookout in Hawaii is known for its dark roads and strange legends. One night, a rookie officer was sent to lock the gates there. As she drove in, she saw a woman in a white dress standing alone. But when she rolled down her window to ask if the woman needed help, she suddenly noticed something terrifying. The woman was now sitting in the back seat of her patrol car. The officer stayed calm and spoke kindly.
Oh, what are you doing out here, Auntie?
Just like her grandmother had once taught her. After locking the second gate and driving through the tunnel, she checked her mirror again. The woman had vanished. That night, the ghost didn't follow her home, but it did get a ride.
Turned out and looked out the window to start asking. She felt this eerie feeling in the blue and white. And that's when she looked in the rearview mirror and she realized the lady was sitting in the backseat of the car.
Chilling presence.
I tried to speak, but I couldn't. In my mind, I'm saying, let me go, let me go, let me go, but it just wouldn't.
He just wanted a quiet spot to finish his report, but what he got was the scariest moment of his life. A police officer in Kahuku headed upstairs to a small room in the station. It was late, the room was silent, and everything seemed normal at first. But then, this strange feeling came over him like someone was watching. As he kept writing, a shadow slowly appeared out of nowhere. Before he could react, it moved closer and placed a heavy hand on his shoulder. He couldn't move, couldn't speak, just sat there frozen, begging in his mind to be let go. Finally, the shadow backed off and slipped back into the dark. He ran out and never went back upstairs again.
I kept writing my report, but I'm really not concentrating now because I can feel something.
Unseen visitor.
No, there's nobody in front of you.
A late-night security guard thought he was just talking to a familiar customer. He even called her by name, Ms. Abigail. But what he didn't realize was she had passed away 2 years ago. The whole scene was recorded. The guard could be seen speaking to someone, but the camera showed no one there. When dispatch asked him who he was talking to, realizing the truth, the guard panicked and ran. What was he really seeing that night? Perhaps Ms. Abigail never truly left the building.
Miss Abigail she died 2 years ago.
Graveyard whispers.
I'll see if I can go look around and try to find them. I saw somebody up there, found that it was an old man. I asked him, hey, Tata, you saw any two girls, small girls? And he just turned and then pointed down the roadway.
This retired police sergeant still remembers the night he followed footsteps into the dark. While on patrol in Wailua, he met a woman whose daughters had gone missing. He followed a quiet trail and came across an old man. When asked about the girls, the man just pointed. As the officer walked, he heard footsteps ahead, but saw no one. They led him through thick grass to an old, ruined church. Inside, everything fell silent. Then came whispers, and finally, a graveyard. The missing girls were there, playing at their great-grandfather's grave. But when the officer turned back to thank the old man, he was gone. Maybe it really was the spirit of their grandfather.
What are you guys doing here? The girl said, well, we're just playing in my great-grandfather's graveyard.
Rooftop girl.
On these monitors, they basically scan. So I'm sitting and I'm typing on the computer, I look up, and all of a sudden, I see this little girl looking at me.
Officer Kim Johnson was working late in the police station when she spotted a little girl staring straight at her through a rooftop security camera. But that camera was fixed high above the parking lot. No one could physically be that close. She called in another officer, but the rooftop was empty. Things got stranger during a priest-led blessing at the station. Dispatch reported multiple dropped calls, traced from inside the building while every officer was present. After that final blessing, the calls stopped. The girl was never seen again, but for a while, she made the whole police station terrified.
And she's beaming at me through these monitors, and I kind of jumped.
Girl possession. Locals in Tonaya's Hacienda Real subdivision witnessed something terrifying. A 15-year-old girl suddenly tried to attack her aunt and younger sister inside their home.
Katie?
The neighbors rushed to call firefighters. When help arrived, it took several of them to hold the girl down. But as they did, she started screaming in a way that didn't sound human. Many believe this wasn't just a case of anger. It looked more like a full demonic possession. The girl's behavior left everyone disturbed. Shadowy patrol presence.
The encounter Officer Deshay had in our previous story wasn't his first nor his last ghostly experience.
Almost everyone in the department has walked through Ke Kula Makai, but not everyone knows the creepy stories behind it. Years ago, Officer Alika Desha saw a shadowy figure in the video studio. It stood up and walked into the wall. Another time, a cart rolled toward him by itself twice. He left and heard laughter behind him. Clerk May Kim once saw someone in uniform walk toward her, then vanish. Even today, staff hear footsteps and door checks, but no one's there. A security guard even saw an old man smoking near the gym, only to find no one, just the smell of cigar smoke. Some believe that old overnight guard still patrols the grounds. Whatever's out there, it hasn't left.
Just last year, Officer Nao Silva and Rick Whiteso had their own encounter.
Hotel spirit.
Oh my God, what the?
A quiet hotel turned into a place of fear on December 29th, 2020. A security guard was on his usual round when things started to feel wrong. He remembered that a guest had passed away in the hotel a few months earlier, and strange things had been happening ever since. That night, while checking the staircase, he suddenly heard a woman's voice, but no one was there. Then came the sound of footsteps, soft at first, then rushing toward him. He ran without looking back. Later, while reviewing the footage, he saw something hiding behind the door. Perhaps the spirit of that guest never truly checked out.
Hello?
Airbnb disturbance. Late one night in 2021, a woman noticed the door to her Airbnb was wide open. No one was supposed to be inside, so she called the police. 2 officers arrived and began searching the house. As one checked upstairs, a loud noise came from the bathroom, but no one was found. Moments later, a door opened by itself, even though no one was nearby. As they continued downstairs, it happened again. The whole thing was caught on the officer's body camera. They found no intruder, no guest, just strange activity. Some believe the cops unknowingly captured a ghost that night, and the footage proves it wasn't just in their heads.
Police! Anyone inside, make yourself known.
Woman vanished inside car.
All right, sir, I'll be right back. Okay. Your registration is What the heck? Sarah?
A traffic cop stopped a car and started questioning the woman inside. She seemed normal, answering calmly as he asked for her license. But then, in just a split second, everything changed. The officer turned his back for a moment, then looked again. The woman was gone. They quickly checked the dash cam of the car behind to see if she ran off, but nothing showed up. No door opened, no movement outside. She had simply vanished, right inside the car. Some now say she wasn't an ordinary person at all. Maybe she had powers, or maybe she was never human to begin with.
3201.
Ghostly apparition.
Police Department's training academy in Waipahu. Haunted? Well, some say it is.
The Honolulu Police Departments in Hawaii opened in 1988. It feels normal during the day, but turns scary at night. A guard named Tony once heard banging at the SWAT house. The dogs barked wildly, and shutters slammed on their own, even though there was no wind. Later, Tony saw an old woman in white walking toward him. She vanished, then suddenly appeared behind him, only to vanish again and reappear a second time, this time sitting right in front of him, staring with a furious face. Tony ran for his life, and some say the lady in white still shows up when no one's around.
Tony should have taken my advice the first time, and none of this would have happened.
Phantom 911 call.
Answered questions after a 911 call in Pueblo from a funeral home and cemetery.
Something strange happened on August 11th. Pueblo police received a 911 call. It came from a funeral home and cemetery, but as the call came in, the line went silent.
Hello?
Dispatchers tried to call back. All they heard was static. No voice. No explanation. An officer was sent to check it out. When he arrived, the place was locked. The lights were off. There was no one around. Still, the call had come from inside that funeral home, and no one ever found out why.
An officer was sent out to check out the funeral home and cemetery and says it was locked up and dark with no one in sight.
Children's mysterious disappearance.
Kids, they're gone.
What do you mean they're
gone? I was just driving down the street. I look up and they're gone. It was just vanished. I couldn't believe it.
This police body cam footage might be the most disturbing yet. A school bus driver was calmly making his usual rounds when, in the middle of the drive, every single child vanished without a trace. He says he looked in the mirror and the seats were empty, gone in seconds. When officers arrived, the bus was parked, but the kids were still missing. No broken windows, no signs of escape, just silence. The officer went out and started calling out to see if anyone was there.
Is anyone on the bus? Can anyone hear me?
But there was no response from any child. 50 kids, just gone. Until today, no one knows how or where they disappeared. Voice in empty jail.
Once when I was working in cell block, a really strange thing happened to me.
The Alapai Police Headquarters in Honolulu, Hawaii, was built near an old cemetery. Since it opened, officers have reported strange things, especially in the Central Receiving Division cell block. One officer once heard a man's voice calling him from an empty hallway. As he followed the voice, it kept getting louder until it stopped. All the cells were open and empty.
I'm almost there.
Another officer saw a man sleeping in an open cell. He locked the door and went to report it. But when he returned with a second officer, the cell was empty. Many still say they don't believe in ghosts, but most agree something's not right inside that building.
As a relatively new officer, I would laugh at the senior officers who would tell us stories about the cell block being haunted.
Man walks through wall.
I say 2 o'clock, maybe 2:30 in the morning. What I saw was a male figure, kind of heavy set, walk right past my view.
A quiet night at Hawaii's Kapolei police station took a strange turn. An officer on duty noticed a heavy-set man silently walk past the bathroom area without acknowledging anyone. The figure moved straight ahead and then vanished right into a wall. Shocked, the officer chased after him, thinking someone had entered a restricted zone, but no one was found. Later, when he reported it, he was told something chilling. An officer named Brown had passed away of a heart attack at that same post years ago. The man he saw matched the description. Some say Officer Brown never really left his shift behind.
At that point, that's when I realized maybe I was just chasing a ghost.
Humming graveyard child.
I'm a big guy. I'm not really afraid of anything except little kid ghosts.
A former police officer shared a strange story from a midnight shift in Manoa Valley back in 2008. He responded to a call about kids making noise in a graveyard around 1 a.m. When he arrived, he didn't see anyone, but then he noticed movement near a tombstone. As he checked the area, he suddenly heard a child humming behind him. But when he turned around, There was nothing there. Moments later, his patrol car radio started playing music by itself, even though no one had touched it. Then, without warning, the song restarted on its own. The officer left the area quickly, saying he's not usually scared, but that night, something didn't feel right at all.
Anyone touched that radio? I don't know how it happened.
Unseen force.
Caralho, mano.
Brazilian police once entered an abandoned hospital and left with a story no one could explain. During their operation, a door deep inside the building started swinging open and slamming shut over and over again, all by itself. There was no wind, no person, and no clear reason for it. The officers stood frozen, trying to make sense of what they were witnessing. But it didn't take long to realize this wasn't normal. Many now believe the hospital is still home to something unseen, something that doesn't want to be disturbed.
Vai, mano, vai, mano.
Haunted police officer.
Young little girl, probably in her 13 or 14. And I have this habit, I'll turn the second time and she wasn't there, third time. And she was like peeping into my car.
Former Singapore police officer Roger Lau, known for his third eye, shared chilling experiences during his service. While patrolling, he once saw a red-stained girl in white pajamas by a tree. She vanished, only to reappear staring at him through his car window, then vanished again. In another incident, he spotted a man in traditional Chinese attire trying to enter a cemetery at 2 a.m. unseen by his partner. Lau also recounted a haunted chalet stay where unexplained doorbell rings and violent knocks occurred, and windows he had opened were mysteriously shut by morning. He later learned the chalet was the site of a tragic double suicide.
1 a.m. Someone pressed on our doorbell. Someone is knocking on our door, our bedroom door.
Living mannequin mystery.
would always come in before I turn off the lights. But this particular day, it was a 3-day weekend. When we came in, I unlocked the door myself. The mannequin in the corner was standing upside down on its head.
Most people visit the Honolulu Police Museum to see history, but some visitors walk out saying something else. Something scary happened inside. Officer Eddie Kroom, who helped build the museum, said he always felt like someone was watching him. The building stands where 2 workers once died in a tragic trolley accident. Since then, strange things have happened. Shadows in the corner, mannequins blinking, arms moving, and one mannequin found standing on its head with no damage at all. Here is the creepiest part. People say they feel breathing on their necks near a World War II display. Maybe those spirits never left. Maybe they're still guarding the badge.
A group of kids from an elementary school. So while the kids are walking around the museum, they notice the mannequin's left hand start to move towards them.
Figure behind gates.
They're tough guys, but some police officers saw something that freaked them out, and they captured it on camera.
Officer Carl Romero was watching the security cameras at the Espanola police station when he noticed something unusual. At first, he thought it was a bug flying across the screen, but then he saw legs. It looked like a person, but no one was supposed to be in that secured area. The figure seemed to walk through locked gates without setting off any alarms. Detectives say there was no issue with the cameras or lighting. Some officers say they've seen and heard odd things in the building before, like soft sounds or strange shapes in empty rooms. While nothing bad ever happened inside, nearby cases remain unsolved. Whatever it was, it left a lasting impression on the team.
And there's not really any way for it to get out through there, but it seems to walk right through that.
Blurry stranger.
And if it's holy.
A soldier on night patrol in Germany spotted something strange on one of the surveillance cameras. A person was standing still by the roadside, but as the figure began to walk, it slowly turned blurry and then disappeared right in front of the camera. There was nowhere nearby for anyone to run or hide. When the soldier checked the spot in person, no one was there. Some now believe it wasn't a person at all, but a ghost, or maybe a lost spirit still wandering that road. Driverless van case.
Where's it gone, Kitty? In the back. In the back.
Police were after a van that was speeding down the road, assuming it was a thief or someone trying to escape. But once the vehicle finally stopped, things got weird. Officers asked the driver to step out, but there was no response. When they checked through the windows, the van was completely empty. There was no sign of escape, no open doors, nothing. It almost seemed like the van had no driver at all, or maybe it had one that couldn't be seen. Some believe the ghost was leading the police somewhere on purpose. Floating terror.
Does it frighten you, the things that happen here?
Oh, well, it did first, but...
In 1977, a family in Enfield, North London, started facing strange things in their house. Peggy Hodgson lived there with her 4 children. One night, loud knocking sounds filled the house, and furniture began to move without anyone touching it. Things got worse when her daughter, Janet, seemed to be taken over by something. She spoke in a deep, scary voice.
There's chases here.
And was even seen floating in the air. 2 investigators came to help and recorded strange voices, moving objects, and many unexplainable events. Even police officers said they saw a chair move by itself. Photos from back then still raise questions. No one has ever explained how all of that happened, and maybe that's what makes it so disturbing.
Have you tried telling it to go away?
Yes.
Cannibal House. A woman walked into an old house somewhere in Greater Poland. People say cannibals once lived there. For some reason, she used a Ouija board inside that same house, and that's when everything went wrong. Her behavior became so strange that someone called the police. When the officers arrived and looked into one of the rooms, they were stunned. The woman was there, screaming loudly. But that's not all. Police said her body was glowing, like she wasn't even human anymore. Many now believe she was possessed, and honestly, after hearing this, who would ever touch a Ouija board in a place like that? Terminal Ghost. Airport workers were fixing up an old, closed-off part of the building when they noticed something strange. They started seeing a little girl walking around the upper floors, somewhere no one should have been. Worried someone had snuck into the restricted area, they called an officer to check it out. The officer searched the empty wing, and that's when things got scary. A security camera picked up a young girl's face staring through one of the locked doors. That part of the airport was sealed shut. No one was supposed to be inside. Ghostly orbs. A guard was on night duty when he saw something strange moving toward the guardhouse. It wasn't walking. It looked like it was floating. Curious and a bit worried, he stepped outside to check, but the figure was gone. He rushed back in and played the security footage. That's when he spotted something even scarier. As the figure disappeared, 2 glowing orbs suddenly moved up into the air. That wasn't just a shadow. It looked more like a ghost breaking into pieces and flying away. Cafe ghost sighting. A quiet night in Louth, Lincolnshire turned creepy for cafe owner. He was at home watching his live camera feed when he noticed a strange figure moving around his coffee shop. It looked like someone was trying to break in, so he quickly called the police. 4 officers arrived with tasers, ready for action, but the shop was locked, and no one was there. Later, the owner watched the footage again. The way the figure moved didn't seem normal. He now believes it wasn't a person at all, but something ghostly. The CCTV showed something no one could explain, and it hasn't been seen again. Moving broom footage. In New South Wales, Australia, police officers were shocked after checking CCTV footage from their station at night. The video showed a garage door slowly opening on its own. Just seconds later, a broom slid out from the garage and moved across the floor, as if someone had pushed it, but there was no one around. Some officers claimed it looked like a ghost janitor was at work. So far, no one has been able to explain how the broom moved. The station hasn't reported anything like it again, but that night left many feeling uneasy. Basement haunting signs. In Gary, Indiana, police and child protection workers were shocked by what they saw inside one family's home. The trouble seemed to come from the basement. Captain Charles Austin, a police chief, said he and others clearly heard a calm voice say "hey" while standing down there. He later shared that strange things kept happening to him even outside the house, like his cat moving on its own. Inside, oil-like liquid kept dripping down walls and blinds, even after the room was sealed. A priest performed exorcisms after LaToya Ammons, the woman living there, was said to be possessed. One day, a nativity ornament flew across the room. Many believe that the dirt under those basement stairs isn't normal. Captain Austin called it a portal to hell. Ouija board curse. This wasn't a ghost story passed down through whispers. It was real and documented by Spain's own police. In 1990, a Madrid family watched their 18-year-old daughter Estefania suffer hallucinations and outbursts after using a Ouija board at school. She passed away months later, mysteriously, but the horror didn't stop. Loud bangs, clawing sounds, and shadowy figures invaded their home. A photo of Estefania caught fire on its own, right in front of her mother. Even officers responding to calls witnessed unexplained events. The haunting was so intense that it forced the police to file an official report. The Vallecas case wasn't just paranormal, it was a terrifying event backed by law. Spain had never seen a haunting like this before. Unseen cell presence. On June 28, 2021, a strange thing happened inside the first police station in Santiago, Chile. The duty corporal was alone when he started hearing odd noises from the hallway. He decided to check the prison cells, walking past each one in silence. But as he reached a certain cell, something terrifying happened. The door slowly opened on its own. No one was inside. No officer nearby. The corporal didn't wait around. He quickly turned and ran back to his office, terrified and confused. Many believe that night wasn't just a regular patrol. Something unseen was waiting behind that door, and it wanted to be noticed. Ghostly road hitcher. A quiet highway in Baraboo, Wisconsin holds one of the state's most puzzling stories. Many drivers traveling on US 12 have reported seeing a ghostly figure by the roadside, described as a woman trying to hitch a ride. But when cars slow down or pass her, she simply disappears. This strange sighting has happened more than once and always at night. Some think it's just headlights playing tricks, but others are sure they saw someone real. Even police officers have looked into it, but found nothing. Still, the stories keep coming. It's hard to ignore how many people have seen the same thing. Maybe this road has more secrets than anyone expected. Mysterious shadow. This footage captures a truly strange night during a new security guard's shift. It was only his third night on the job when something unusual happened. While watching the monitors, he saw a shadowy figure move across the hallway. The figure went a few steps ahead and then simply disappeared. Shocked, the guard stood up from his seat and looked around the building, but the place was completely empty. There were no doors open, no footsteps, and no one in sight. That single moment was enough to turn a quiet shift into a memory he wouldn't forget. Invisible coworker. A security guard was confused. No one told him about any new employee on duty, but he swore someone was there. He even greeted the person, shook hands, and pulled out a chair like they were having a full conversation. But when a coworker checked the footage the next day, things took a strange turn. The guard was seen talking and reacting to someone, but no one else was there. Just a shadow briefly appearing beside him and then fading. Many now believe the guard didn't meet a coworker that night. He may have been talking to a spirit. Playful presence. In 2017, police officers were on night duty when something strange happened. Doors inside the office opened on their own. At first, they thought it was a windy storm, or maybe someone outside messing around. But when one officer checked, there was no storm, and not a single person nearby. Moments later, the doors opened again, just like before. That's when the officers realized it was something paranormal, a playful ghost making its presence known. Invisible child. A strange security footage from El Milagro Market in Ventilla, Peru is causing serious questions. A night guard was seen standing alone in a corridor, but suddenly began talking to someone. He looked calm, like he was trying to comfort a child. But the security officials who reviewed the footage told the guy that there wasn't anyone standing there. But the guard was persistent. He saw a little girl and told her to wait for her mother. He came back later, only to see the empty shop. Well, don't we all already know where the girl went? Dining hall spirit. A late-night security shift turned strange at a dining hall when an officer heard a girl crying. He walked over and saw a young girl standing alone. She told him she was looking for her mother. But when the officer went to report what he'd seen, his team told him no one else had been inside for hours. That's when it hit him. He might have spoken to someone who wasn't really there. Now that dining area is known for something more than food. It's whispered to be haunted. Guard dragged by unseen. City Hall workers in Armenia, Colombia, were left terrified after one shocking night patrol. A security camera showed what looked like a ghost slamming a guard into the wall and dragging him across the floor. The guard had no idea what hit him. He said no one was there. The mayor shared the video online and said this wasn't the first strange thing to happen. Religious leaders were soon called in to cleanse the place. People now believe something dark might be hiding inside that city hall, and it's not going away anytime soon. Echoing haunt.
Hay una persona abajo.
One night in Peru, a policeman on duty near the beach heard a sound he couldn't explain. It wasn't the wind or the waves. It was a terrifying voice echoing across the shore. He started recording, hoping to figure out where it was coming from. But no matter how many times he called out, the voice didn't stop. It just kept going louder and more haunting. Locals believe it could have been La Llorona, or maybe something even darker. Whatever it was, it shook the officer so badly, he left his post and refused to return that night. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. This fearless police encounter with the paranormal is unlike anything seen before. In Greater Poland, park authorities called in the police after outdoor gym equipment started moving on its own. It was late at night, and no one was around. Still, the machines kept moving like someone was using them. The brave officers got close and filmed the strange scene themselves, clearly disturbed by what they saw. Despite their fear, they stood their ground as the equipment continued moving without a single soul in sight. They believed something unseen had taken over the park. Since that night, the park has become famous for being haunted.